Okay, great. Well, it's 1 o'clock Eastern time here in Ohio. Amanda, I think if you want to get started, then now's a good time.
All right, sounds good. Can you hear me okay, James?
Yes, absolutely fine.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you are all staying safe and staying healthy. We're going to have James talk for a little bit on some ways that you can use the system for some success and find some ways to help manage these difficult times. So I'm going to turn it over to him, but in the meantime, I just want to let you know that we are recording this, so I will send out a copy of this afterwards if you want to rewatch it or send it to anyone else in your organization. And if you have any questions about this time or any time through the presentation, if you want to just chat it into me and we'll go through them at the end.
Okay. Thanks, Amanda. Again, James Gertis here, CEO, CTO of WebPresented. On the call, we have several WebPresented WPCRM customers from across multiple different industries, multiple different ERP platforms. I think Amanda said there's about 38 different companies being represented. I appreciate your time. I know everyone's busy dealing with this change of processes right now, and thanks for your time. The goal of today's meeting is not only to bring our customers together and just talk about WebPresented, what we're doing through the crisis, but also to give you guys some ideas of how this change to the business environment, this crisis, has impacted some of the distributors who run WPCRM and showcase some of the creative ideas and creative strategies that people have used to handle the response to this crisis. And I'm joined with one of our customers, Rodney Williams, on the call, who's going to be walking through one of their case studies, as well as me being able to share, with permission from some of our customers, share some of the things that they've been doing as well. Obviously, WebPresented, like Amanda said, this is our sales and marketing team here. We hope that everyone on the call is safe. Thoughts go out to families and anyone who's been negatively impacted. Ourselves at WebPresented, we are making a difference. All of our employees are mandated now to work from home, stay at home. We're also volunteering. We're located here in Columbus, Ohio. There's a local movement called Can't Stop Columbus. It's basically a bunch of technology professionals getting together and contributing in multiple ways to help volunteer some of our time. We're helping with so all of our tech staff are donating some hours of their own time to help with, there's a government advisory website out there. There's a job website, which is part of the state of Ohio's infrastructure that our tech resources are helping. And there's also a new restaurant takeout ordering system that is free to all restaurants to help their business out, and our tech team is helping out with the technology behind that as well. Okay, so how are we seeing the current climate and crisis impact our customers? Well, the first thing is with the social distancing, with less people in the office or less customers actually going to visit, less salespeople going to visit their customers in person, we've seen a huge uptake in the support level of WPCRM. And support level in terms of questions, how to, volume of activity going on with our customers' sales team. And what we put that down to is the increased importance now more than ever in having a CRM that allows teams to collaborate, allows salespeople to interact with their managers, to record activities, to help people understand what they're doing at any given point in the day. We've seen not only the collaboration, for example, between inside sales and outside sales, sales and their managers, management and executives. What we found is also some of our customers are really struggling at these times. Obviously, the economy's taken a downturn. And what that might mean is more workload on individuals. If there are employers who've had to reduce the number of their headcount, that means more work that needs to be taken on by certain sales reps. So we had oftentimes salespeople now having to take on more calls, having to take on larger number of customers. And the CRM tool is a great way to facilitate getting more efficiency with sales individuals' time. We've also had customers come to us and tell us stories about how, you know what, traditional, the old historical revenue streams have suddenly slowed down. And so the CRM, the analytics inside of the CRM actually helps our customers to find new revenue streams, find new sources of business. And we're going to have a case study on exactly how this was done with one of our customers coming up shortly. We've also had customers use our marketing tool much more efficiently, effectively, and on a larger scale, sending out communications to customers specifically about changes to operating hours, changes to delivery routes. The lack of human interaction makes that email communicating and centralized messaging much more important. Also, a heightened awareness among distributors about what we call the vitality indicators of their customers. This may be for multiple different reasons, but as a salesperson can look at what we call the vitality statistics of their customers. In other words, if a customer stopped ordering suddenly and frequently, then that's probably a sign that customer is being heavily impacted by the crisis. Maybe it's a time to reach out. Maybe that's a time to offer a special promotion, maybe to delay some sort of payment. Again, ways of understanding customer from a high level and being able to provide that level of unique service becomes more and more important. So what are we going to go through today? Well, today I'm going to show you a couple of case studies from our customers, as well as have some of our customers chime in and present some example themselves. I'm going to show you, or on the call, you're going to hear from existing customers and how they're managing change and what they're doing with the change. I will say that our customers, like I mentioned before, are range from every end of the spectrum. We have customers in multiple different industries. We happen to have a fairly niche and a very strong set of customers in the janitorial and JanSan, so paper products, sanitorial, cleaning supplies industry. And my understanding from talking with the business owners of those types of companies is they are more in demand now than ever. They're obviously the demand for cleaning supplies, for face masks, for gloves, sanitary gloves, is exponential now. So their challenges is not necessarily on a revenue stream standpoint, but how to now manage the increased demand. And I'm going to show you some examples of how we do that. On the reverse side of things, we've had our customers who are distributors who aren't necessarily deemed part of that critical piece of the supply chain. So how do they go about and use their existing resources in these times? So I'll show you those case studies. Reasons to call on customers, how to communicate effectively, how to, for example, in the case where a salesperson might be laid off due to economical constraints, how we can easily shift over their historical work onto new resources, new employees. Understand customers and their downturns. Again, a huge part of WPCRM is the quoting capabilities and the order entry capabilities. What we found with this crisis is that salespeople now don't necessarily have that same inside sales support. So there's more of an onus on the outside folks who are obviously not calling on customers. They're now becoming order takers. They're now the ones who are remotely sending out quotes and even capturing orders, entering those orders into the ERP system themselves. And WPCRM provides a fantastic way for outside folks to capture orders and enter those orders into the system. And then, of course, as business takes a pause, as some customers are just getting their bearings and projects and opportunities go on hold, we're coming up with creative ways to allow sales individuals not to lose track of opportunities that have stalled, to set appropriate reminders, not to be invasive, but to understand when the next action items are required. So all of the above are very important case studies in how, as the economic climate changes, the needs of the CRM change at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn you over to a longtime WPCRM customer, that is Graphic Solutions Group, GSG, based out of Dallas, Texas. And I'm going to introduce now Rodney Williams, who's the Executive Vice President of GSG, who's going to explain some of the areas that GSG, in a specific case study of how GSG has tuned its resources to find high-value activities using WPCRM. Rodney, on the line and ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, so obviously, welcome everybody, and James, thanks for letting me share one of the creative ways. Really, I can't take credit for it. One of our service managers and one of his team members kind of engaged in this, but obviously, when the immediate downturn in business hit, we were all sort of scrambling and looking for ways twofold, I guess. One, ways to help our customers and ways to generate revenue in the downturn. And one of the avenues that we found was through some of the tools in WPCRM, specifically related to equipment and equipment warranties. So what they decided to do was to go out and look for customers that were on the verge of having their equipment warranty expire and reach out to them. One is to find out if they needed to get any of the service done under the warranty period. And we have some arrangements with some vendors where they reimburse us for some of that warranty work. So if it was under warranty, it would be a no-cost expense to the customer, but still generate some revenue for GSG. The other part of that is certainly in times of decreased business, nobody wants that variable cost of a service call. So the other part of that was to let customers know, specifically via phone call, that they were coming up on the expiration of their warranty, and did they want to get that warranty extended to make sure that that equipment was protected. So if you want to jump to the next slide, James. So what we've had for some time through some WP integration is every piece of equipment that we sell by order line invoice is automatically transferred into the customer in WP under the equipment tab. And so every asset that we've sold goes into that tab with the purchase date. And we also have a table that's built where we track the OEM warranties for each manufacturer. So by equipment type, we can basically derive a expiration date for the warranty based on the install date. So what we wanted to do immediately was identify all the customers who were coming up on the expiration of their warranty and notify them that they were coming up on the expiration, see if they needed any work done prior to the expiration, and also see if we could offer them an incentive to renew their extended warranty. And if you'll go to the next slide. So what we needed to do is we needed to this is a detailed screen of what the equipment is, and you can see in here we have contract start date, contract number, contract end date. That is the warranty period. And so again, based on the purchase date and the duration of the warranty for that particular manufacturer, it would give us a contract end date. In the event that we had an extended service contract, we would amend that contract end date so we know when that customer's coming up on warranty. And by the way, just so you know, the normal process here is there's a workflow that's built around this that also integrates with the marketing component. We always send customers notification on the expiration of their warranties. I believe that the frequency is 90 days, 60 days, and 30 days prior to the expiration of either their OEM warranty or their extended warranty, to make sure that they have ample notification of something going out of warranty. So from this data, you'll go to the next slide. From this data, what we did is we used the search capabilities within WP, and specifically this one was the equipment search. And so we went out there and looked for every piece of equipment that was within 60 days of expiration of the contract end date. Basically anything that was, less than or equal to today. So what you'll see in here is a list of the equipment manufacturer, the actual purchase date of the equipment, and then the contract end date. And so on the contract end date, we ended up with several hundred, actually, customers with pieces of equipment that were nearing the contract end date. And you can see those contract end dates, some of which have now passed. But when we started this, we were working, a few weeks in the past. So we generated this list. And then if you go to the next slide, James. From the list, we generated a workflow, and we created a task list for the service personnel to actually make these outbound calls. And what it did is you go in there and you create this workflow. Basically, it creates a task for every person that's assigned to that account. And if we can jump to the next slide, this creates in the task pane, and most of you are probably familiar with the task pane within WP, this generates specific tasks. And they can go into each one of those tasks, log that call activity, and then not only can the service person see it, but the salesperson and everybody else who has visibility to that account can see that as well. And I'll tell you that the response has been tremendous. We've been very fortunate in that the response has allowed us to keep this particular segment of our service team out in the field and working. And of course, we're following all the normal safety precautions that are recommended by the CDC as far as engaging at customer locations. But it has provided a benefit to customers to make sure that they're getting warranty service done so the machine doesn't go down in a time when they really need it. It's also helped GSG generate some incremental revenue and protected us from having to, consider furloughing the service staff. You can go to the next slide.
I think that's it, Rodney.
Yep, that's it. So really just wanted James had asked me to share this with you. He thought it was a kind of a creative way that we were able to use the WP tool set to generate some incremental revenue in some very tough times. So that's really all I've got, James.
Okay, thanks, Rodney. Appreciate it. And incidentally, Rodney reached out to us and told us about how this use of the software and asked a few questions along the way. We're always open to hearing from our customers in terms of how you're using the system, how you'd like to use the system. Our system, WPCRM, is built on listening to customers and understanding what those needs are, how we can help you, and then how we can help other customers in similar situations. And I think this was a great example of just a little bit of automation as well as a little bit of time spent in the implementation and integration process for GSG that's now reaping rewards. And I think that what we've learned is that our customers who really are proactive in understanding all the different integration points of a CRM platform, those are the ones who can get the most downstream benefits out of the system, particularly if there's fast turnaround, quickly volatile market conditions, and the need to act quickly on changes. So nice case study. Thanks, Rodney, for presenting. The next is a very different case study example, and this is a Nichols paper, who is a janitorial supply distributor based out of Michigan. And one of the, obviously, janitorial supply, cleaning supply, sanitary supply is very important in the supply chain right now. There's a much heightened need for cleaning products, for sanitary products, etc. Some of Nichols' customers are hospitals, for example, that obviously are having a huge intake and requirement for sanitary supplies. So Nichols came about a drastic and rapid change within their environment, and they had the need to communicate to their customers what was changing. For example, delivery procedures were going to be changing. Delivery routes might be changing to take on the enhanced demand. Maybe there might be a little bit of change in terms of lead time for orders, particularly for those high demand products. And all of this needed to be done on a very quick, very rapid basis so that Nichols could communicate with all of their customers. So what Nichols did was, using WPCRM's built-in marketing tools, they were able to build a list of their customers, segment those customers based on the type of industry or the type of provider that they were. So they could basically take their hospitals who are going to be high in demand, and then maybe the schools or the education department clearly are not needing supplies right now because most of them are obviously shut down. So by segmenting those customers, they were able to deliver unique marketing materials to each and every one of those customers. So I'll quickly walk you through how Nichols went about this process. Well, the first thing obviously was to segment their customers. So using the account search here, they would go in and obviously create lists of customers based on loading on regions, territories, but also the customer type. Once that list of customers is generated and saved, obviously now comes the marketing component, where a communication is going to be sent out to all of those accounts, all of those contacts at those accounts, in order to communicate the message and keep that bond between the brand, the organization, and their customers, but also importantly to educate their customers and help them understand what the changing offerings were from Nichols, because they obviously wanted to take their customers' needs into consideration. So building out a simple email with a hashtag here, linking to their social profiles, Nichols' marketing team was able to come up with a single communication that was to go out to each of their customers in specific segments. And you'll notice an important part of the communication was to tailor or customize that, that communication to each and every one of their customers. So you'll see here using the merge fields built into WPCRM, this is the template of the marketing message that was sent out to each and every one of Nichols' customers. And you'll see here that not only is the user who's sending the email entered, and that might be the inside rep for the particular customer, but also the customer's account manager's name was there. So it's a personalized message. It was, the two used the recipient's first name, and so it was a one-on-one message that was that helped Nichols get that communication out to each of his customers. Obviously, once the email was sent, here's an example of what it looks like, and so here is the names that were merged once the email went out to the customers. Of course, once sent, here's an example of some of the recipients of Nichols communications, and obviously once sent, there's some analytics built into the system of how many of these messages were sent out. Again, there's open rates, so we can understand who and the percentage that opened. How many people opted out from future communications, which is important. Obviously, we don't want to over-communicate and reach people that don't want it. And then we can see who clicked on links for follow-up activities. Interestingly enough, there's an excellently low undeliverable rate. So obviously, if there were rates or emails that didn't go through, then Nichols are going to be able to have their account managers follow up and correct any bad email addresses. The end result of the Nichols marketing obviously is better communication with customers. Customers are more informed. That bond between the distributor and the customer gets strengthened, and the brand image of Nichols is obviously one that's in tune with their customers, fast to respond, and able to communicate well to its customers. All integrated within the tool and all available now so that the sales folks can see the communications that have been going on with their customers. And these emails were put together in a matter of minutes and distributed to all of these customers. Okay, so that's the two main case studies I wanted to go over. There are some other areas. There are other areas that I wanted to highlight and showcase within WPCRM of how to take best advantage of our system in these times. So I'm going to hop over to our demo system. I'm going to highlight some new areas of WPCRM that's going to show you some of the areas that you can potentially use the tool to reach out to customers. So one of the things we talked about was understanding customers, understanding which customers have potentially stopped ordering from us. Obviously, at times of economic volatility, it's very important for us to be able to understand our customers and those who have stopped placing orders. Maybe it's because their business is suffering. Maybe they need some sort of outreach from our sales organization. So by clicking on the WPCRM dashboard, I have the ability here to rank my customers based on which customers are low on the frequency metric. And the frequency metric, I click on the first customer here, you'll see based on the scorecard, we rank the health of a customer based on different metrics. And then you can see here, Transcend Techno has a very low frequency score. What this means is that a frequency pattern is built up over a period of time that helps us to understand the cyclical nature of a customer's purchases. In this particular case, the customer here purchases from us every 2 days. It's a very frequent pattern, and it's a very predictable pattern for this customer. However, I can see from this particular customer's perspective that 15 days have gone by since the expected reorder date. So clearly this customer has a red flag involved that's made them go outside of their normal cyclical buying pattern. And of course, maybe that's because of a downturn in their business due to the current COVID crisis. If that's the case, it's very easy for the sales rep to click on the account and understand which contacts to reach out and wish them well. Understand to see if there's any other needs during this time that can be fulfilled. Maybe, you know, their customers' buying patterns have changed, and maybe there's ways that we can help this business in other ways than the traditional historical cyclical buying that they've had. So again, to recap, the analysis of buying frequency and buying patterns, and the ability to quickly outreach and understand what is the difference, what's not being catered to, is very important using the CRM tool. Another area that's highly important to users, particularly at the time when there's uncertainty and a lot of projects, et cetera, going on hold, is the ability to keep up with our opportunity pipeline. So every time an opportunity or a potential deal is discussed with a customer, then we encourage our customers to enter them into the opportunity pipeline inside of WPCRM. There's a small amount of additional discipline required from the sales team, but the benefits, the outcome is huge, particularly in times of crisis right now. So in this particular case, I'm going to show you a sales pipeline. And this is, let's have a look at based on the pieces of equipment that we're selling. And let's go ahead and show, for example, these 5 stages of the opportunity pipeline. Let's say we have a lot of deals that are on the go right now, and each salesperson is responsible for managing those deals. But each deal, you know, could be on hold. If my customer is, you know, they can't make any financial buying decisions because of the COVID crisis, then that particular deal is going to go on hold. So it's very easy to manage a large number of opportunities using WPCRM's pipeline view. And importantly here, this is a listing of all of our equipment projects. And you'll notice that if I sort this by the number of days in the current stage, we'll be able to see which of our deals are currently stalled. I can see there's a deal here, a quote that went out, but it's been in this stage for 330 days. Let's go take a look at this particular opportunity and understand why this is stalled. We're 115 days beyond when we originally expected it to close. So clearly, maybe I need to go in and set a reminder for a few months from now to follow up on this deal. Very easy to manage and update. And of course, once that gets updated, we've changed the expected close date. It's going to update our pipeline accordingly with an expected close date change. Very useful in managing opportunities is the ability to forecast deals. So from a management point of view, if I want to know which of my deals are due to close by month, I can then easily see what our projections look like. Very important if there's a slowdown. It's very easy for me to manage. So let's say this particular opportunity that I thought was going to close in April, maybe that's now going to close in May. It's easy for me to drag that across the different time spans, and it's going to now update the expected close date, and maybe that might trigger an email to go off to my manager, and so we can now see a more accurate opportunity, or an accurate viewing of what our pipeline looks like. Very important in times of volatility, and very important that the sales rep can easily manage this tool, and the manager has easy visibility into the system. Another area that we found be very important within WPCRM is the turnover in sales organizations within our customers. Oftentimes people are being replaced. Unfortunately, sometimes customers have to furlough their resources. And an important tool built into WPCRM is the ability to bulk manage activities and tasks. So for example, if I look at all of the, let's just go ahead and choose one of our sales reps here. And I'm going to look at all the current tasks for that particular sales rep. Let's just say our sales rep is leaving us. It's very easy for us to simply highlight activities using our advanced activities capabilities and reassign those tasks to another user. In this case, I can send notifications out, and all those tasks and activities are going to be reassigned and reallocated to different resources. Of course, the advantage of doing it inside WPCRM is that we can now track it and make those changes extremely easily done. So there we go. Now we have no more tasks for that particular user. Finally, as I go through the different areas that we've seen a growth in WPCRM, our quoting capabilities are now more vital than ever. And we've put an awful lot of work into building out our quoting tools. So if you're an existing WPCRM customer that uses quoting, we have a lot more capabilities in recent releases that are going to help you to better keep track of quotes and easier enter quotes. The most important one is obviously as sales reps themselves are creating quotes, sending them out to customers. With the ability to turn those quotes into order, it saves an awful lot of duplicate processing. If, for example, I create a new quote here, and let's just pick a quote for our customer, you'll see that we now have what we call our default view being our grid view. And this is basically a spreadsheet type format that allows you to come into the system and enter products. And those products are going to immediately be validated against the ERP system as we enter them. Much easier for me to bulk manage products, bulk manage quotes, even the ability to import quotes and copy paste quotes very easily from this interface. We've also added a product search capabilities. So this gives me a full search not only by product keyword, but for example, I can now search based on item type, even based on attributes of specific items. And here, let's just go ahead and find our radar products. I can execute that search. So we've got 9 products returned. And I can simply bulk update these items and add them to our quote immediately, quickly, and easily. And those items are then obviously going to be validated against the ERP system and immediately added to the quote as validated line items. So we can see here we've got all those additional items on our quote. A couple other nice little features that we've added here are as we're managing our quote, obviously as we're incorporating intelligence into our quote, we have a inline recommended or suggested products tool. So for example, if you have customers that are ordering items, even repeat items, we have analytics that goes out and understands based on the current basket, what other items are often added to that basket at the same time. So for example, if I'm ordering a piece of machinery, maybe we want to suggest the warranty that goes along with that piece of machinery. If we have the adhesive mist here that we've added, oftentimes people that use the adhesive mist also use this plastisol remover that actually removes some of the mist or the products that are added. So it's very easy for me as a sales individual to be able to add products to my quote as we go in an educated manner that helps me understand what are the additional products that might be needed on any given quote. And of course, at any point in time, I can then save this quote, convert it to an order, and within the grid view, all of the same grouping and repricing functionality is available. So for example, I can group these in a group, and of course, those items are now going to be subtotaled accordingly. So a lot of quoting capabilities. The reason I'm bringing this up now, obviously, is as sales reps, individuals are out of the office, nobody's, with social distancing, it makes it much more important now for sales individuals to be able to capture information and effectively communicate with the inside team, avoid duplicate entry, become more efficient, and the quoting tool is a great example of that. I'm going to wrap up today just by encouraging you guys to stay in touch with us, to please share with us any changes in your industry. We consider ourselves fortunate to have great communication with our customers. It's very important that we understand how your business is performing so we can understand how best to cater to those changing needs. Like I said, with the help of existing customers and that open communication, like the likes of Nichols and GSG that we saw those few case studies, we're able to provide this type of information and help that community of distributors, as you guys are such a critical, important piece of the supply chain that we're seeing raise an awareness for right now. So I'm going to wrap up my case studies here, and I'm going to turn it back to Amanda to see if there's any questions from the audience or any additional information that you'd like me to cover at this time.
Thank you, James. And thank you, Rodney, for sharing. There are no questions at this time. So while we wait, if anyone wants to send any in, I will mention that the Q1 release notes went out this morning. So if you did not receive that email, you can either reach out to me and I can send them to you, or you can view them at any time in the WP community underneath the release notes. I will also send a link to them when I send out the link of this webinar. You can view those then. But I do not see any questions. So as James mentioned earlier, please reach out to us at any time with any questions and our team can work with you. But that will about wrap it up. So thank you, James.
Thanks very much, everyone. Stay safe.